Yeah, very good morning to you, Valen. Is indeed a big issue, an important issue, a serious issue, youth and drugs. Let's pick it up our conversation now. Dr. Lochan Naidu is addiction expert as well as the head of the Julo Rehabilitation Center. Thank you very much indeed for staying with us. Let's just talk about this, the drugs and youth relationship. But it's really a seductive pull, isn't it?
Absolutely.
In terms of, well, it starts off innocently enough, maybe every weekend, and then it gets more frequent, and then before you know it, you're addicted. That period between start and addiction, how quick is that?
Well, I think the different drugs have a different time span. For example, cannabis would take a while before you really get addicted and dependent on it. But heroin, which is wonga, etc., you can get addicted very quickly. You know, some of them become habitual use, and some of them people can choose when to use it. For example, cocaine, etc. But the biggest problem is drugs are illegal because they're dangerous.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that's important. I think our problem is we have vulnerable youth, and I think international organizations, illicit drug trafficking organizations have identified South Africa as a very vulnerable area, and our youth are ready for the picking. Now, how does this thrive? It thrives with perceptions. For example, cannabis, there's a perception that it's innocent. Ecstasy is innocent. Now, we had the situation in KwaZulu-Natal where there was a chemical which was disguised as if it's an ecstasy tablet. Now, the perception in youth is ecstasy was fine, which is not really, but they thought ecstasy is fine. But you had a new substance, and this substance is a pentanone, which is coming from a new class of drugs called NPS, which is manufactured in laboratories, and it's tested in communities. And if it works in a community and there's good take-up, it becomes a new drug. But if people die, people withdraw the drug and they start working on a new drug. So the idea is a lot of our people know that wonga is not good for them. So how would I get you dependent on wonga? I'll add wonga to a cigarette. I'll offer you a cigarette. You smoke a cigarette, and a few days later you get abdominal pain. You go to your general practitioner, gives you medication, it does not get relieved. Then you go out on the street and someone says, just try this, and you get pain relief. And that's how dependency starts. You know, so I think there's very clandestine ways of capturing our youth. And you know, we speak about schools, etc., but we must ask ourselves, why do children go to alternate groups or gangs or that? It's because they're looking for family. You see, drugs is not the problem for youth. Drugs is their solution to escape from reality. It's their solution to develop a feeling that the brain does not have the capacity to generate. So drugs augment the brain to develop a feeling. The problem is, after a while, you cannot function without a drug. And that's when you start having learning disorders.
Lots of serious issues indeed.
Yeah, but the intellect's intact.
Yes. Dr. Lochan Naidu, thank you very much indeed for your time. Indeed, you know, the social cost as well is exacerbated by many of the users because they often ostracize from their families and communities. And I guess more community involvement is needed, more programs needed in order to help our youth get off the scourge of drug abuse here in South Africa. Thank you very much indeed to my guests. That's all of time we have. Let me throw it back to Johannesburg now.